internet. It's been a while since I've done one of these, but I asked you all to vote on my Instagram what kind of video you wanted, and overwhelmingly the response was that you wanted a January reads wrap-up. 9 books came out of January, so without further ado, here they were. First up, I finally finished reading Uncommon Type by Tom Hanks, and I have to say, it was pretty typical for me of a short story collection. I love short stories. I think they're great. But as with most collections, some of them I really gravitated to, some of the stories just didn't quite hit it for me, but I also think I did the smart thing in not trying to read it all at once. It was definitely spread out. I picked it up every once in a while. Next was Unearthed. This was the first book in a new series by the same people who brought us the This Shattered World trilogy. As usual, it is action-packed, there's a lot of tension, alternating perspectives. I thought it was a literally out-of-this-world read, and it was just fun. It was just fun. Pitched as Indiana Jones meets Lara Croft, I think that does a good job. The ending totally surprised me. Can't wait for book 2. As You Wish was another arc I got last summer, and it's a bit of magical realism about a town where people, when they turn 18, are allowed to make a wish. One wish and it will come true. Really enjoyed the concept. It didn't quite hit the mark again for me. Grief is the Thing with Feathers was incredibly sad but also really thought-provoking. Novels in verse are something that I don't read a ton of. It's about a family where the mother has passed away, so you're getting the story told in poems from her husband, from her 2 sons, and from this crow that shows up, and he's the manifestation of all of their grief. But the idea is that this bird, will not leave until they're finally in a place of maybe acceptance, or just they have a handle on what's going on. It was very short. I read it in a couple days, really moving. Headstrong was this fantastic nonfiction micro-story collection about 52 women in science that you've probably never heard of, and all of these women from around the world, from a variety of scientific areas, who made incredible breakthroughs, and why have I not heard of them before? I've actually been squeeing about this one in various meetings at work, saying how it's so easy, especially as an educator, to use more of people like this, people who aren't recognized, as examples, rather than always going with Sir Isaac Newton. Throw in a little bit of Rosalind Franklin, you know? It's so easy to recognize women and people of color and people who have done so much but maybe don't get the credit they deserve because they're not a dead white dude. Fascinating read, and it's only 3 or 4 pages on each person, so totally readable. I would put this in the hands of a middle schooler all the way up. The Princess Saves Herself in this one was a poetry collection and also a story, kind of. And it is a feminist poetry collection, very short pieces, and through all of these pieces in order, you get the evolution of a woman basically moving away from this whole idea of damsel in distress to what if the princess, what if all of us girls become empowered enough to be enough for ourselves. I adored it, and also I can't wait to bust that out for book spine poetry in April at school. Great title. Sing Unburied Sing was something I just discussed at book club a few days ago, and the conversation we had was rich and amazing, and this book won the National Book Award this year, and at the end of reading it, I simultaneously felt like I needed a hug, and I wanted to give some of the characters in this book a hug. It's so difficult to describe. It's a Southern Gothic family drama, a little bit of historical because a lot is told in flashbacks, but also taking place now over the course of basically a week, and it was heart-wrenching, and it pulled at the feels and really gave me and the other people in my group a lot to think about. That one's gonna be sitting with me for a while. And I finished 2 audiobooks this month. The first one was A Conjuring of Light, the final book in Victoria Schwab's Shades of London trilogy. Ugh, it wrecked me. It was long and winding road, but where it ended up, I think is where it needed to end up. What a great fantasy trilogy. And the second book I listened to was Every Heart a Doorway. This was a totally weird little book, very short in terms of page count, and for listening it was only 5 hours, which is pretty short. And it's about this school for wayward children, but it's not their fault. Each of them has spent time in another world and for some reason have been chucked back to ours. And it's just beautifully written, LGBT characters and diverse characters, and they've all experienced these different worlds, and there's some murder and disposing of bodies happening at the same time. But it was delightful. The thing that I can most relate it to is Neil Gaiman's The Ocean at the End of the Lane. It was very similar in mood, in length, and I say weird as the highest of compliments. So those were the books I read in January, and I have a lot to think about, which is exciting for me. That's exactly what I wanted. All of my usual links are down below. Comments are always welcome, and that's it for me for now. Take care. Bye. I'm currently reading Waking in Time, and if you like what you've seen here today, please like and please subscribe for more.